Okay, I want to talk a little bit here about the speedrun. I'm going to narrate the speedrun post facto, talk a little about what I'm doing. The first thing I do is I create a bard, and it's a Hobbit bard, so you get the 18 dex and 17 luck. And the goal here is to take the fire horn, blast out the skeletons to get a ton of gold, and with that gold you can basically launch your half-orc magician, Rain, here, and the number 6 in the position list. You can launch him to like conjure really fast. So first thing we do is go straight into Catacombs. We'll trap zap here with the built-in conjure. All these heroes are the default heroes that come right when you start the game for the very first time. So the bard pretty much will get first cast against skeletons like the vast majority of the time. He'll fail, or sometimes 4 or 5 skeletons will attack, then he'll cast. But for the most part, he's got a level 1. He's got a pretty reliable, giant burst damage. So we whack everything here, and we get a lot of gold, and we get a little bit of experience. But it's just the gold that really matters. If you skeletons live, you got to clean them up. And now we exit really quickly. And we remove everybody except our bard and our the character we're going to actually beat the game with. Thought here is that our bard has 17 luck, so he's basically able to run away like really quickly. For the most part, we run away from everything. We're looking for magicians, and with the magicians, if they cast a spell, you get basically free hits. Like you can't miss. It's actually a bug. It should actually make it harder for you to hit, but for whatever reason, actually makes it so you can't miss. It takes a while to find them, and we just kind of kill stuff until then. And we get them pretty quickly, which was nice. See the magician cast a spell. When we see that, we're done. So we're immediately going to dump the bard, and we're going to go take a little risk here. I've only got a level 1 hero, but we're going to go straight to the ogres there. So you've got these little sentry things that guard Mangar's castle. They can one-hit me, but you just take a risk right here. Kill 3 of them. And they're biased, so if you've seen the other speedruns, there's another bug where if you only have a stone elemental and 1 hero in your group, then everybody's sort of biased to attacking the stone elemental. It's not 100%, but like 3 out of 4 times they'll attack him instead of you, which is really helpful for the ogre magicians because they basically beat him up, the stone elemental up, and allow you to one-shot them. Get lots of experience with no risk, basically, or minimal risk. So we're a level 5 magician. We want to get 6 or 7, and here I just kind of commit and get 7. I do 1 more round of ogres. I probably could have just done 1 ogre and been done with it, but I had enough experience it made sense to get my next level as a magician too. Probably should have just run away here, but so we're going to go back to the guild now. Level up a little bit and change our class to Conjurer. Like we're not going to get all the magician spells, we don't really need them. Now I'm a level 1 Conjurer, and we're going to go back and do another round, a couple rounds of ogres. This part's kind of boring. we basically just go back and forth over and over and over again. And there's nothing really to be done for it. So um, here I'm a little aggressive. The ogres hit for up to 53 or 54 hit points. So if you're below that, you can get one-shotted. But in the interest of speed, excuse me, in the interest of speed, we just kill them all quickly. Sometimes we'll go back and heal up in advance, but just kind of taking some risks here. Just the I probably should have been more conservative, but it worked out fine. We level up a little bit because walking around as level 1, it's hard to flee from stuff. I mean, you can easily run into 8 barbarians and they'll kill you, and there's nothing to be done for it if you're level 1. So we go back to the board every now and then just to get a few extra levels so we can flee stuff easier if we have to. And I think from here on out, we just power level straight to level 10. Once we hit level 10 as our conjurer, then we're ready to jump into the Catacombs again. We're going to go farm out the Spectre. And I'm getting a little ahead of myself. So this part's not very interesting, but that's okay. You'll see how it's done. I was actually surprised that I did as well as I did here. There's a lot of failures. I mean, you see a successful run here, but for every successful run, there's probably about 30 failures, 40, something like that. I mean, it's not 100 to 1 is not quite right, but it's probably 25 to 40 to 1. Meaning that somewhere along the line, I just give up before I actually successfully complete the whole game. It's probably about 30 to 1. Anyway, we continue killing stuff here. Occasionally stuff goes bad and we got to adjust. And that almost killed me. And I didn't actually have my healing spells. I don't like walking around this slow. Again, like you run into like 8 barbarians and fail to flee, and all of a sudden you're in pretty deep water. Back at it. As I was saying earlier, a lot of times we fail, but some of my early fast runs where I was getting 9 minutes, I was entering the Catacombs, and I'm behind that here, and that had me concerned. But the timings still worked out. We made it up in other ways. In fact, this speedrun is a 55-minute speedrun. I probably could have done it in about just barely sub 50 if I didn't make a bunch of mistakes. I think it was about at least 5 minutes of pretty embarrassing mistakes, honestly, as I count mistakes. This part was fairly efficient, all things considered. So we're coming up on 9 minutes, and I don't know if we get a sense of how much experience I have here. Yeah, so I have got about 75,000 experience, so I need to do about 3 more rounds of ogres to get a 90k, and that 90k I can get level 10 as a conjurer. They're about 2,600 a pop, I think, something like that. So we've got, I think we need to kill 2 more. You have to be real careful though. You need your stone elemental to be dead when you go into the catacombs, because the specter will hit the stone elemental instead of you, and that's a problem. So here you can see I'm carefully monitoring what I've got, and I just go kill this last one because I have to have the stone elemental dead. And attacking the stone elemental is generally not a good idea. It's generally just faster to dump them on the ogres. One of the good thing, I got like 2 or 3 points there in luck. That ended up being very helpful early on. I got to dump my inventory so I can hold an eye, otherwise I wouldn't go here. So I'm at 10 minutes now. Oh, I buy staff and robes also. Just I've got a lot of decks, so I can. I want to at least if I miss a flea, I want to at least have a good chance of surviving, and the 1 or 2 points in AC is worth it. So anyway, I go heal up, get all my spell points, and then I go into Catacombs, and I go straight for the Spectre on level 3. We walk there. And the big risk here is that there's 2 forced encounters in addition to any like random encounters. And you've got to be basically, I make a slight pathing error here. I went one direction instead of the other, but we fix it pretty quick and don't get lost, which is good because I really only have Catacombs memorized to the extent of pathing and common ways I get lost. So there's the 2 forced fights there I was able to flee from gratefully. Sometimes you get Doppelganger or Blue Dragon, you're just toast. A random fight, was able to flee from that. Anyway, we keep plodding along. I'll lose a little bit of time here. I decided to zap these traps for whatever reason. Probably didn't need to do that, but in hopes of, I think he can still, the Spectre can still one-shot me. I think he hits up to like 121 or something like that. Or if I've got a walkout too, so wanted to, the first few times you do this from level 10 is difficult and a lot of risks. You got to walk all the way out. If you don't hit all the traps, and they all hit you for maximum damage and you die, but here we luck out. So we made it through, got our level 11. Not enough gold, so we got to sell the eye. And basically, I know we got to heal the level drain, get our spell points back. And slight pathing errors here. This is actually like my 3rd run of the day. My hands were a little not quite warmed up, but we warm up fairly well. So now we're level 11. We go back in. Basically, your chance to flee increases with luck and levels. So here, being level 10 and level 11, it's the same level of risk, and level 12 is your. Finally, if you have level 12, and enough points in luck, you're pretty much going to flee everything. But this is another high-risk endeavor. I mean, if I get a Blue Dragon or a Storm Giant or something like that, Stone Giant. Anyway, there's a couple things that if I get them in the forced encounter, okay, Stone Golem was able to flee from. So yeah, there's those 2 forced encounters there, and you're just kind of rolling dice as to whether or not you'll be able to flee. There's some danger areas a little bit later when you're like a low-level wizard trying to flee from that, but here I just eat the traps. And got another eye. I heal up just a little bit. The traps can get you, and then if you roll some bad luck on random encounters, then you could easily die. The goal is to get out of level 2 as fast as possible, generally speaking. And once you're back in level 1, I don't think anything here presents a real risk. I think I can flee from all of them with almost 100% certainty. But the traps can still occasionally get you. All right, so we're going to heal up. I got to sell another eye again because we're paying money for the gold for the spells. Anyway, gold and experience are basically the 2 main constraints in this speed run. You have to get your wizard up to level 30 because that's the only way you can successfully flee and bounce spells back in the Mangar fight. You could probably do less than level 30, but the odds that you'll succeed get less and less with each level, and the odds are pretty bad enough so that like if you ever want to actually like have a meaningful chance, like less, better than 1 in 100, you got to get significant levels. Um, so we're level 12. We're back in now. After this, this is lesser risk because at level 12 there's a nice little bump. Plus I should have 18 luck by this point, I think, or even 17 luck in level 12 is pretty good. It takes a blue dragon or a doppelganger, and then they need a high roll to force you to flee, or so you stop you from fleeing. Anyway, I got stuck kind of here, just my pathing was a little off. But this right here up to here is not particularly fast. I mean, I've done much faster. But it's good enough. So now after we heal up, we'll be level 13 Conjurer, and we'll actually just change to a level 1 Wizard. We make it out okay, heal up. Gotta sell the eye to get gold. I did the math. You end up having to have something like 360,000 gold between all your levels up, the gold for your spells, and then the healing that's associated with leveling the wizard towards the end. So we're going to do 2 rounds of ogres real quick, and I just kind of mess up some basics, but anyway, you can't go straight into Catacombs as level 1 because you can't actually lose a level. So if the Spectre hits you and you're level 1, you stay level 1, and there's no way to bump up to level 2. You actually have to get your level 2 before you can go use the Spectre to continue to level up. So that forces you to get like 20k experience. The fastest way to do it is just whack a bunch of ogres. Excuse me. It's slow, but you're also level 1. I mean, you can't really go like try to cast anything. You have terrible AC. So, but this is not unbearably slow. It just adds a minute or two to what you got to accomplish. You have to be sure to level up actually before you go into Catacombs. Sometimes we forget that. So now I'm level 2 and 18 luck. This is a really dangerous time to go in. I can at least port a cane and like cut down my speed or improve how fast I go, but I still have these 2 forced encounters, which ends up going very poorly. So Mast is actually, I think, the best thing to cast here. You cast it on the biggest, meanest things that could possibly attack you. And basically, as soon as you get it off, it stops that group of folks from attacking you. So here I'm kind of stuck. I had to heal myself up. I'm kind of forced to walk out, and we'll see what happens here. This might have actually saved time in retrospect. So this guy whacks me good. I got 2 hit points, and I don't trap zap. You need like 15 to a portacane. So I gotta walk out. If I hit a single trap, I die. Which is actually fine because I can heal. I've got gold, so I just add my bard. Sell my eye. It's not, I don't think it's actually technically faster than walking out, but actually it might be if I didn't do pathing mistakes and have other issues, but it is what it is. Recovered from the mistake, lost maybe a minute of time, 30 seconds of time. About a minute of time if I had successfully ported out. But there was actually no good way. I mean, once I took the damage in the fight, that I needed to cast that last healing, otherwise I would have died from the specters. So it worked out. So here I am level 3 again. This is same deal. Until you hit level 6, I think you're running a little bit of a risk on the forced encounters, but you just have to kind of take the risk, and hopefully if you have to fight, they're really tiny things, and you can wiggle your way out. But basically those forced encounters is where it brings an end to many speed runs. If you get past the wizard level 6, you're doing pretty good, and then the next big thing is, can you get how the Mengar fight goes. So anyway, for the next about several minutes here, what we're going to do is basically farm gold and get levels as a wizard. There might be a faster way to do it. I mean, my pathing here is pretty bad, but I say faster way to do it. I've given a lot of thought to how do you maximize golden levels, and it's difficult from, you have a constant chicken and egg problem. So I ended up just sort of defaulting to farming the Spectre over and over again. I don't know why I fight here. Did I may have been forced to fight that. And I just cast. I'm hoping actually to get I should have fought the white. The item drops here on the Catacombs, you can actually drop a mithril scale, which actually makes, if I could have gotten a mithril scale, I probably could have gone and farmed skeletons or whites or wraiths, ghouls and wraiths, or ghouls and whites with Repel Dead, and made, I think, more golden XP for at least a couple levels of wizard, but it didn't work out, which is fine. So that's also a higher risk route. The Spectre's pretty low risk, but there may be time savings elsewhere. Nonetheless, we keep going over and over again. Sorry, it's boring. Anyway, the Catacombs is the one, levels 1 and 3 have like big groups of zombies and whites and skeletons and ghouls and wraiths and other stuff. So there's some potential there, like we did at the beginning, to just get burst experience in gold. And but what you see here is sort of the default way. If you get some item drops along the way, there's some faster. If you have mithril gloves and mithril scale and maybe even a shield ring, and because you luck out, then there's definitely, I think, some faster ways to approach it. But farming for items is just it's just a luck game, and there's no point. I've basically given up farming for items. It's so luck dependent that not really helpful for accomplish my personal goals for the speedrun. So let's see, I'm probably like level 5 now or something on my, I'll find out here in a second. From here on out, basically, it's safe to do the Spectres, right? You're not going to die. You can flee from everything. So in the interest of well, I would say the one thing about Bard's Tale is that like you could, in theory, win this with like a level 3 bard and a level 2 monk or something like that. I mean, and your odds of winning it are like, 1 in 20 million. But because Bard's Tale is a really really it's a luck-based game. RNG is really critical. The only question is how do you, if you want to do it fast, I mean, how many hours of your life are you willing to spend trying to do it super fast? So um, this route and this path is actually not all that much of a personal time commitment, and you get like, you're hard pressed to find a faster way, I think. I'm sure someone will figure it out. I mean, every speedrun's made to be broken, but if anybody cares, it's um, there's definitely room to improve, but it's primarily like luck-based room for improvement. Although that being said, like I said, I think like 5 to 7 minutes were lost in this, and some just sort of overall inefficiencies, pathing mistakes, dying. Uh, I'm not the fastest typer either. So over and over and over again we go. I guess some other things I should mention. I've chosen a half orc for a magician, and the reason that you end up doing that is because you really need the 18 constitution right at the beginning. That way you can, when you're level 10 as a conjurer, you can go to the specter and like survive. I was doing it as half elf for a long time because the mana demands are really high, or the spell point demands are really high for this. And half elf has, if you're going to play it slow, half elf is generally the best race because you end up, you roll essentially with the highest number of base stats. But if you want to be big and fat early on, like Rain has 200 hit points and we're pretty early on, you have to go half orc to get the 18 con, and there's really no other good option. The downside is though your luck and your spell points really suffer. In fact, spell points is a really painful suffering, and you can only hope that you get most of your early points in luck as well as intelligence, which in this case we did okay enough. You'll see here towards the end we're basically out of mana by the time we beat the game. Like I think if I had a half elf right now, I'd have 120 hit points and like 200 spell points or something like that. So it'd almost be a switch between spell points and hit points here. But you're basically, the goal is you got to be able to survive those forced, a moderately strong forced encounters, still get hit by the specter. Otherwise, the quality of life in terms of how many times you have to do a speed run before you actually successfully pass those things is really high, and my life is too short for that. So half orc was far more survivable than a half elf. That being said, doing the magician to conjurer really it's good for the half elf. I mean, with a little RNG you can do fine, but just just to have a consistent speed run, the half orc is the way to go. Oh, by the way, if you want to know how I create this, so basically what I'm doing is I'm just using docs. I'm on Windows 10. I set up an alarm stopwatch, and then you can see right at the very beginning, I just start the DOS box and put them all in the same screen, little capture window that ShareX lets you use. And then I record, I do a nil narration, and then use like Windows Movie Maker to blend the audio and the video together and then upload it to YouTube. So you end up, you need to basically keep doing this until you hit wizard about 14 or 15. And by then you've got enough eyes and enough gold that you can transition to the next stage of specters, which you'll see here in just a second. So let's see if we get a shot at what level we're at here. Is that level 12? A little fast there, but anyway, this is, you know, zero risk now. We're such that by about level 10 as a wizard, level 8, 6 or 8 as a wizard, like not, you will always flee, period. I think a doppelganger or a blue dragon, you can, maybe it's level 8 as a wizard, that they can have like a 1 in 7 chance of forcing you to fight. But by now it's wash, rinse, and repeat. No risk. You're just cranking along here. You are spending a lot of gold healing, and there's really not a good. You can cut down your number of visits to the specter with the eyeball if you're a magician and restore. The downside is with the magician, you've got to get those last several levels, which takes time. And maybe it's hard to say quite how the time works. The cost benefit analysis for the time. If you get go to wizard, or sorry, if you get a magician 13 before you turn into a conjurer, is that, you know, your couple of opportunities you have to cast restore, does that save you gold and time? It might. But I kind of liked, I'm not sure that it saves 5 or 6 minutes of time. I mean, maybe it might save you 3 minutes of time. Something for someone else to think about. All right, so now here I'm level 14. I've got 100,000 gold. I just go and I sell everything except for one eye. No, I sell all my eyes. Okay. Maybe I do one more specter to get one more eye. That might be right. I've never actually done the math. I know approximately how much gold I need, and I just sort of estimate it as, you know, I'm targeting level 30. I know I have to whack this guy until I'm about level 14 or 15. That gives me 15 levels left. And the anticipation for the next little exploit is killing me, but so the next thing we do here is we've got enough money, we've got one eye, which we need to get into the Clarion's Tower. Now we're gonna summon our own specters. At level 10, you can do this as a wizard. We don't do it till we're much later in level. Just because you're gold dependent, you just have to go farm eyeballs, even though you can cast the spell. So what we do here is because my AC is like 6 and the Spectre's AC is like -6, I can party attack the Spectre. I'll never hit it. Then I cast to create a wolf. The wolf will always destroy the Spectre essentially. But before I can get my wolf spell off, the Spectre will always hit me just once, and it'll drain a level. So create a Spectre, try to whack it. You'll fail the whack. The Spectre will then attack you, and you cast your invoke wolf or something like that, and the wolf replaces the Spectre. Then you can replace the wolf with the Spectre later. Liches don't do anything. You should never attack them. Just cast Spell Spirit again and get rid of it. So you can do this forever, just that it costs you money to heal and to. So that ends up gold ends up being the limiting factor, and obviously the money for spell points also is a limiting factor. And eventually I run out of gold. You could also, in theory, cast other spells. Like I think, like if you were only a magician, you could cast that invoke a sword spell. But in Wolf or invoke Wolf is it's like the lowest mana cost, and it's always guaranteed to work. So that's sort of my go-to spell right here. So we keep going back and forth. Not very exciting. Level 22, I need 8 more levels. I think by now I've realized that I'm going to have to get some more gold. Anyway, we need to be level 30 as a wizard because that guarantees that you will repel. You'll flee from everything. I think at level 25 or 26-ish as a wizard, because you have to flee from like storm giants, which will obviously kill you pretty quickly. And you've got to flee from a whole bunch of really nasty stuff right now, right near Mingar. So you have to have the high levels because you can't win any fights in Mingar. I mean, everything just kills you. Doesn't matter. Particularly on Mingar 4 and 5. I mean, you could have a small army of wizards and you're still going to get ripped to pieces by some of those fights. So, 100 Mingar guards and it's all over. Yeah. So here I realize I got to get some more gold. My wolf dies. I was going to kill it if it didn't, or make it disappear probably if it hadn't died on the trap so that the specter would hit me and not the wolf. It doesn't matter that anything in that special slot is, there's a bias to hit it, to target it, if there's only 2 people in the group. So I'm not sure what bug causes that, because if you add 2 people to the group and then have one in the special slot, everybody has an equal chance. So I guess I do it one more time here. Because you always need at least one eye to do your advance. So you can only, you always have to do this at least one more time than you think you do need to, just so you have your item for the, to get you into Clarion's Tower. So we're here at 39 minutes here. We are getting really close to level 30. We're at like 28-ish right now. We do need just a 27, so we do need a little bit more gold to finish off these Spectre fights and get our level 30. I don't recall if I explained it earlier, but you got to get level 30 to make Mangar survivable. Yeah, you absolutely have to be able to flee from basically the biggest monsters in the game. There's no way you can fight them. Even if you had a team of 6, you'd be hard pressed to win all of them, or any of them sometimes even. Um, so 30 gets you to roughly where you need to be. You could probably shave off a few levels, save a little bit of time, but your quality of life as a speedrunner goes down because um, it gets harder and harder to win more and more. Just you're incrementally less lucky, for lack of a better way to phrase it. Um, so here I think we're level 30 now. Yep. So we're gonna go head over to the guild, get our team together, and we're gonna go tackle the 2 towers, Clarion's Tower, and then Mingar. So the idea here is we've got everybody. I don't actually need all these people for Clarion's. I probably just could have gotten away with 1, but I don't want to go back to the guild, and so it's just kind of faster to bring everyone along. I suppose one of them might die in the fight with the Stone Golem or hit a trap or something, but ends up working out okay. The Demon Lord here was a good to get it early without spending much gold and healing spell points. I guess the Lich might actually be better in terms of it just hits really hard and it always attacks. But the Demon Lord can cast some breath spells that it's like I think the most powerful breath spell in the game, which offsets the fact that it will waste some rounds by trying to summon critters that can't appear in your group. So and he hits really hard. Anything he hits will die because he stands it. So it's a slight improvement above a Lich, I think, on average. But if you really wanted consistency, the Lich would be the way to go. Anyway, we got to get the silver square here. So it's just you can't teleport around in Harken 2, so you got to go in, get out as quick as you can. Fairly straightforward. I'm not sure that there's a faster way to do it. But once we're back in Harken 1, which will happen pretty quick here, we gotta find the stairs. That teleport spot puts me in an awkward place. I keep losing myself in it. But anyway, down the stairs we go. Now we teleport to level 3. Fight our good friend here. This fight can actually go badly. That Mad God can have a early roll. For example, like the Demon Lord might cast a summoning spell, and then the Mad God will whack one of your guys and stone him, or cast a spell and stone him. But it worked out okay. I probably should have put Rain in the back 3 instead of the front 3, but it worked out. Clarion's not hard. In fact, this is like my worst performance ever in a speed run through it. And I just, under the pressure of and being so excited about going into Clarion's at 40 minutes, I get lost in this little thing here. I go too far south. There's a little door that you can enter. But eventually I figure out where I am. And I go around to the maze where you get the silver triangle. I get lost in here again. I think I pause here to get a map. Yeah. And anyway, I got unpaused by accident, but nobody randomly attacks me, which is good. Excuse me. Anyway, I figure it out and come back. I scry side a few times here because I get lost again because I can't follow a simple map under the pressures. Anyway, so I've been here in Clarion's Tower now about 4 minutes-ish. Still haven't gotten to the Stone Golem. Like, I really should have finished it right now. Like, I really should be done. Um, that Stone Golem should have been should be dead already. I should have now be walking, probably should be teleporting in the sewers right now, but I'm not. Instead, I'm wandering around lost. So this is really disappointing for me in the middle of the game. I'm like, my best run ever, and I'm just lost in this mess. And then it got worse. Here we fight the Stone Golem, which goes fine. And I turn right instead of going straight because I panicked. Thought I had to turn right instead of go straight, which brings me back to the beginning. And while I have the silver triangle, I don't have the onyx key. So I have to go back, and then I go east instead of west. And it takes me a while to figure that out. What I really should have done is just gone down the stairs to mentally reset and then go back into the game and just treated it like from scratch. I go east here 3 times, thinking maybe I did something wrong. Like, oh wait, no, I go west on the first one. So I get lost in here also. Just really basic pathing. I just, my brain gave out on me. But eventually we figure it out. Make it to where we need to be, get the teleport. I'm just paranoid that I have to trigger the guy to say sinister and reopen the door. Technically I don't, because I didn't leave the level. I teleported within the level, which is not enough to reset it. But having made so many mistakes, I was just like, you know what, I just need to play it safe. Not much time. A few seconds didn't really matter after that point. So anyway, I get lost in here yet again, much to my chagrin. Eventually I figure out where I'm at. And last but not least, I make it out. And the Stone Golem's dead. We don't have to fight him again. We just have to remember to go straight. And now we're home free. Got the stasis trap here, which I assure you I've run into many times. The game does a pretty good job of baiting you into going straight over and over again. So you have to, like, you know, for a while here, be in super highly cautious mode. Make sure you go down the proper door. The maze is no big deal. And now we're home free to Clarion to get the onyx key. And we should have been out of there many minutes faster. But nonetheless, despite a rather significant waste of time, we're done. So off to Mangar we go. I get lost here yet again. It's just a weakness in my pathing and in all the speedruns. I really don't progress this far very often, so that it's not as reflexive or intuitive. I mean, I'm sort of going the right way in terms of I got to go heal up my spell points to get, you know, refill my mana to do Mangar. And we get there eventually. It just takes longer than it should have. So now we're full, and we've got to do all of Mangar in 236 spell points or less, which we barely managed to do. It's pretty close. So basically 230 spell points represents sort of like a lower limit on your minimum spell points that you need to successfully complete Mangar. If you have less, I mean, in theory, you could like teleport out and come back and, maybe save some, but that costs you a good minute of time. I pause here to get my little script out to tell me where to teleport to. So we teleport to the circle. From the circle, we teleport to the 7 words mouth, and then we walk to Mangar 4, and then walk through 4 and 5. The fastest thing to do here is just teleport exactly where you want to go, and I haven't memorized it, I just wrote it down. So in theory, right now I should have beaten the game in under 50 minutes, but under 55 is also good enough. Overall, I'm actually really quite pleased with my course. I mean, I was my very earliest speedruns, I was like 6 hours, 4 hours. Like, wow, this is hard. And I got it under 2 hours, and I was really impressed with myself. And then hour and a half, and now we're here at under 1 hour. And I mean, you may be able to do it under 30 minutes. That would probably represent an extreme. You'd have to have. I mean, you could do it in theory, like with a level 3 monk and a level 2 bard or something like that. But the RNG just gets crazy hard, and the odds of you actually winning are something like 1 in 200 million. Or um, so, if you ever actually want to complete a speedrun in your lifetime, you have to be careful about the course you take. It's sort of a trade-off between how much RNG are you willing to accept and how many hours of your life can you dedicate to this. Anyway, we're here at the Red Dragons, and basically if the bard plays a tune, you get past them and they stay sleeping. And the odds that one of the Red Dragons does a lot of damage to you is pretty high, either through a breath spell particularly or through attacking you. There's 2 of them. The Demon Lord, in theory, will kill one of them instantaneously, but the other one, like, will survive and it will get damage off you either on the Demon Lord or on you. And if it hits you, you're so spell point restrained that you literally don't have the spell points to heal yourself and successfully finish the game. So the Bard, it's cheaper to spend 10 spell points to animate the Bard and make him sing than it is to fight the Red Dragon. So here we have the Possession Trap is the next room over. So we've got to put 3 targets here. And if they're already possessed, in theory, I don't know what happened. Typically, if you're already possessed, you still would fight, but I guess we rolled well. And the particulars of the Possession Trap have not been very clear to me. I think you make a saving roll, but it's a really hard saving roll to make. In any case, I took a wrong turn there. It's often frustrating for me, but you got to go left instead of right. Here, left again, right again. Now through the door you go left, and then you're free. So anyway, everybody dies all over again. There may be a better way to save some spell points and not have to animate all 3 people. But if there is, this sort of seemed like the simplest way to do it. And the most consistent way to do it. Now, 1 room from Mangar, we get the Spectre Snare, which is not really useful, but I guess for the last few, wraiths and ghouls hitting you, it helps, I suppose. We're going to animate everybody here. I don't animate the last guy because I was concerned about my spell points. I think that was the right call. I may have been able to animate 1 more, but I was getting really concerned anyway. The fight goes fairly well here. We'll see. We use Thor. I also should have made sure that my rain was number 1 here for a little bit because I could get a random fight and then we'd die. So I shouldn't have switched him out until right before I entered in. Anyway, the Thor will whack a Demon Lord and then I spellbind the other Demon Lord. And so now I end up, that guarantees that at least one Demon Lord is going to be dead, and in this case we got two. So now I'm going to Spellbind Mangar. And the thought here is that you Spellbind something that your special slotted guy isn't going to hit. So the biggest guy that's not in the A slot. And unless there's two in the A slot, and then you can go for them. So that way, if my special slot dies or something bad happens to him, I've always got another replacement. Here, my Bard actually went, he's nuts. He actually attacked the Storm Giant and killed it, which was like a brilliant move on its part. Actually saved the game, I think. I also didn't notice that the Bard attacked the Vampire Lord, which I could have saved my poor little Bard there. But nonetheless, we win. It was fun. Learned a lot. Hope you enjoyed it.